Mm. Awkward, awkward.
Being live streamed.
Yeah, trying to live stream. Okay, Gary. Thank you so much, everybody, for joining for All Things Abacus. Here we are today with a special guest of Tammy and Audrey. Thank you, Audrey, for joining. Hello, Audrey.
Hello.
Can you tell a little bit about yourself?
Well, I am one of those crazy math teachers that everyone has always ran from. No, I'm just kidding. Um, but I was a classroom teacher for 22 years, and then just before COVID hit, I was deciding not to come back, and then I ended up being a tutor. So now I'm an online tutor for what? This is my sixth season, and I tutor everyone from seventh grade up to adults. And it's basically throughout the United States as well as Nairobi, Kenya, and Cairo, Egypt. And I'm starting to be popular in Puerto Rico. Hola. So
Nice,
what we're
nice.
doing.
Also, Alaska too, yeah?
And Alaska, I just got off of a tutoring session with Alaska like literally 2 minutes ago.
What time is it in Alaska right now?
They
You know?
are, so I gotta look at my chart. They are, what are they, like 4 hours behind us.
Something like that.
So
All right.
yeah, so they're
Four
4 hours
behind
behind us.
y'all or four behind me?
Four behind.
Well,
No, she's not in
me, I'm on
California.
the East Coast. Oh, yeah, I'm
Oh,
on the East
okay.
Coast. So I'm in
I'm in
Maryland,
Florida.
Oh, so it's four
Okay.
behind you guys.
Okay, so just one behind you. Okay.
right?
That works.
So yeah, and I'm just really trying to expand, not only just doing tutoring, but creating all these great little books and all these adventures, and just really trying to help support people to enjoy math again.
What
So not to have that trauma. That's what I'm
what kind of
working on.
what kind of books are you producing?
Well, just so happen to have a whole stack of them right
I
here.
would
That's good.
I would hope so.
So my algebra at your pace. So basically, it takes people through the whole step of algebra. That's going to help them with their GED, the ASVAT, the Accuplacer, the TEAS test, SE test, anything that has algebra in it. It goes all the way from numbers all the way to rational functions, a little bit of geometry, just to really help with all that. There's so many, and I'm already in the process of working on a book to say what are the 100 most missed areas that
Oh,
people are missing. I'm putting that into my latest ebook, as well as I'm just about to release tomorrow my book on making careers in algebra. When people always
oh.
ask, why do I have to learn algebra? I'm not doing anything with it. Yeah, you are. Yes, you are.
That's a good
So yeah,
question because
that's
You know what?
my algebra teacher was burnt out by the time we got to her. And to ask her, well, what kind of careers can we use algebra? That was a long shot trying to get her to give us a question to answer.
mhm.
Yeah.
So I would love to have been able to ask her that question, but it no, we couldn't have done that.
You know that I think abacus will fall into algebra just nicely
I
because
know.
there's a lot of
Yes.
things that happen in abacus that goes into algebra. So,
Yes, yes,
And
oh,
it
there we
I've seen that.
go. Yeah. Yes, the similarities between the two.
Yes.
Yeah.
mhm,
Yeah. And then there's a lot of people that were mentioning how so I said that, what abacus does is it provides a known variable. And then you go
mhm,
into algebra, which is the unknown variable. So it's a nice stepping stone to get into.
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah.
Definitely that foundation that is needed because I'm
Yes.
seeing so much. Like, I don't know what's going on. I'm not sure if the pandemic was a hole in it. Is it because there's a lot of teachers that are leaving the classroom? So they're just trying to fill spots. But I'm seeing a lot of kids not really knowing their multiplication tables, not
Yeah.
really understanding how to, I hate to say it, add or subtract, not even fractions, because everyone has that fear of fractions, but just the basics. A lot of my students, I have juniors and seniors that are struggling with just basic 7 times 3. And I'm literally
Yeah.
just like, are you okay? They're like, yeah, I'm just trying to figure it out. I'm like, wow. So how are you passing your algebra 2 class? So
Yeah.
there's like so many factors that just kind of comes into it.
I got one more for you. It's they don't know their place values. And I'm like, how do
Oh
you not
no.
know
No.
your place values? I'm like, oh my goodness. Yeah, I'm dealing with a one student that's in fifth grade. And I'm like, how did you get to fifth grade not knowing your place values?
Yeah.
So it's
That's
crazy.
money. Like,
Yeah,
and that's money. Like, how do you know you're getting the right change? Like,
that's
just
true.
go with that basic stuff.
Yeah,
Because
yeah.
one story of recently I was at a supermarket and then there's a cashier, her change
Oh,
part
yeah.
didn't connect. And
Right.
then someone gave her, I think it was like 99, but the person gave him like a 20 and a penny.
Yeah, yeah,
And
yeah.
she was like, wait, what? Yeah, you could totally see her brain was like, why are you giving me this money? And what's going on? And all of a sudden she started crying.
Oh
And I'm like,
no.
wow,
I
like what you just give her a duck.
yeah,
It's
yeah,
just the basic, the mental math,
yeah,
the and it makes me scared because what are you gonna do when you want to have your own job?
yeah,
What are you
exactly.
going to do that make sure that you're getting paid correctly for the gross pay before lovely taxes and everything comes out? How do
Right.
you know that you're getting paid what you're supposed to? And I'm afraid that people are just going to get taken advantage left and right. So that's the whole premise behind all of these books
Yeah,
and stuff
there's a
that I've
whole
been doing.
generation that they're going to be lost if they're
Yeah,
not already.
yeah, yeah.
You
You
know,
know,
COVID, I think,
I've seen on social medias where teachers are talking about how, well, actually, the employers are talking about how the younger generation is coming in. They're coming in late. They're not calling in, and then they're not
Mhm.
understanding why they're getting fired. And then the principals and the teachers come on and go, we can explain.
Yeah.
You know, they're talking about, well, you've got parents that are not keeping them accountable. The child don't want to go to school. Okay, you can stay home.
Hmm. Hmm.
You know,
And
and
not work and not do
yeah,
anything. Yeah.
yep.
The
exactly.
Video
the
games.
the problem is not, yeah, the problem is not homeschooling. The problem is what's happening at home that's not being supported. That's not supportive. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
And if I called home and told my mama I was sick, you know darn well I better be running a fever and I better be puking and I better not go home thinking I'm gonna get to sit up and read a book because
yeah.
she'd be tearing my butt up taking me back to school.
Mm.
Yep.
And I see Alyssa has joined. Good morning, Alyssa. Welcome. Welcome. We have a special guest, Audrey Cogner.
Yes, I've been listening.
Yeah.
Hello, hello.
If you had any math questions, you can ask her as well.
Oh yeah, this
It
week's
was
been kind of crazy. I haven't been as prepared as I was. There's a lot of family stuff going on, so
okay. That's okay. Yeah. So we were just talking about how crazy. I think the biggest thing is that COVID happened, and that has really put back a lot of the students. I myself is dealing with my own child, and granted, I have been reading with him for about 2 years to try to recover his reading, but it's still something that is very he has been affected. And my other two boys are older. They've already gone through the critical age of learning, so they know what they're doing and they're studying and stuff, and they look back at my youngest and they're like, well, what happened? And I'm like, well, COVID happened.
Yeah,
And it's fascinating, like, because even though we were all at home, even though the problem was is for those working parents, we don't have the time, and it was hard for the teachers to keep track of all of the students because that was not something that was a part of their wheelhouse to like monitor what they were doing. And what did the kids do? They did a lot of YouTube. I know my kid did it, and we tried our darndest to be like, pay attention to class, understand what they're doing. But he was at such a young age. He was only in first grade, second grade. And that was just like, so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But there was a lot of stress prior to it. I think COVID just exposed a lot that was
Oh,
going on.
that's interesting.
And it was just a matter of like, there were some teachers that were like, really like, hey guys, this is what we're going to do. This is the lesson. And I was in the
Yeah.
classroom at the time. And
Yeah.
that's when I started doing my instructional videos because
Oh, yeah.
teachers had no idea what to do. All of a sudden, there was this thing called Google Classroom. And we're like,
Yeah.
what is that? And there was some mandatory professional development training. And we're like jumping through all these hoops when the kids may show up. They'll
Yeah.
be hair bonnets and,
Yeah.
they're relaxing. And all of a sudden, the parents keep forgetting that there's a camera. And I'm like, can you please tell your mom to put some clothes on? Thanks. Appreciate that. There was all kinds of stuff going on. I'm like, whoa, 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 whoa. We're not supposed to be doing that. And then the Zoom bombing and all of that craziness. But no one knew, no one was prepared.
Yeah.
And they just said, all right, let's just throw stuff at the teachers to prepare. And some teachers are like, forget it. What's the
Yeah.
point?
Yeah.
And
I mean,
then at the end of the school year, this is when they pulled everything out and it screwed everything up the following year. They said that if the kids showed up one time on a Zoom call, they passed, regardless of any
oh,
work that they did, regardless of all that, they passed immediately. So then
yeah.
when the kids, when they tried to open the schools up the next year and do that hybrid, which was
Yeah.
insane,
Yeah.
the kids had the mindset of, I don't have to do any work because you're going to pass me no matter what. So they carried that over to the next year, and then it was a whole debacle. And then the following year, when we started to say, okay, no hybrid, we're in the
Mm-hmm.
classroom, this is us full time, the kids weren't used to sitting in the hard desk.
Mm-hmm.
They weren't to asking permission to go to the bathroom. They just wanted to
Mm-hmm.
up and do what they want. And it was a hard transition for the student.
Mm.
And then academically, if they were in seventh or eighth grade when the pandemic hit,
Yeah.
they missed that first year of ninth grade.
Oh, yeah.
They're in 10th grade and they're just like, the teacher's like, you should have learned this last year. I'm like, did you not forget there was
Yeah.
something called that
Yeah.
shut everything?
Yeah.
So those crucial years, those foundational years, gone.
Yeah.
Everyone thinks we've gone faster. The
Yeah.
curriculum of today's curriculum is faster than it was before
Mm-hmm.
COVID.
You know, what was really interesting is now after the student that I'm dealing with now, the problem now is schools are telling the teachers that they should not be giving them homework. So now the other problem is if there's a parent trying to help their own child, they can't because they don't know what they're doing in school.
Exactly.
Now there's another problem. Like, why are we not? And then the school, whoever like big higher up would be like, let them go home and let them play. And I'm like, what are they going to do? Is they're just going to go back on the computer and they're just going to rot their brains. I'm like, why are we taking away homework? They I'm a they need to practice their homework. So then they do the homework at home and then the teachers can teach at school. Get the teachers to teach, not the teachers do homework. That's what I've noticed. So I don't want my kids to do homework. I want the teachers to teach, you know? So I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know why they decided to go that route to be like, you know what?
Because Finland. Finland's number one in education.
Yeah.
Finland, when the kids go home, they go home. They don't do homework. But at the same time, we're not Finland.
Yeah.
Finland has that structure for years of
Yes.
we want to introduce play, we want to
Yes.
have like hands-on activities, but they do real life stuff, whereas we are like very protective of our kids. No, no,
Yes.
no, we don't want you cooking. Why are you cooking? You're gonna burn the house down. No.
Yes.
Now we got little mini chefs running all over the place. But they're trying to take, like they have been for Montessori, taking
Oh,
of little
yeah.
things here and there and making into our curriculum. Thinking that,
Yes.
oh, well, Montessori did great with that. We could do that too. We'll just do
Yeah.
and we'll just add our little stuff in.
Mm-hmm.
The same
Mm-hmm.
thing with Finland. Oh, Finland, give them time to play. But see, my thing is Finland, they'll go out and play. Our kids will go and sit and play video games.
Yeah. Yeah.
Do that every day.
Yeah.
That's why they're
Uh,
trying to take, and it's not working.
I just, yeah, they don't, you know, and then here's another thing. What I found out was Singapore math. Have you heard of
Mhm.
Singapore math?
Yes.
Singapore math is actually not from Singapore.
No.
You knew that? I didn't know that. Can you please enlighten us on Singapore math?
It's I feel like my take, because I don't know what they did. They noticed that, and this is how old I am. Man, I
Yeah.
remember when they had we have an international program at one of the high schools that I taught, and they introduced a lot of people from Japan to come and say, hey, we want to do these concepts. And we're like, okay, what are these
Yeah.
concepts? And next thing you know, we got sticks and dots and they're like, this is great. The kids will be able to be entertained and this and that. And I'm like,
Yeah.
but yet we still have some kind of testing. And it was like
Yeah.
Singapore math and what was the other one? Eureka math.
Oh,
So
yeah.
they tried to
Yeah.
do a lot with that almost Asian based type thing. Again, hit and
But,
miss.
but,
Because when they go into high school,
yeah. But Singapore is actually not Asian, it's actually Eurocentric.
Eurocentric.
Eurocentric means is it's from Europe.
Hmm.
And that's what American math is. American math is very Eurocentric.
Hmm.
So, yeah, I just find it fascinating. Yeah, some British guy went to Singapore and said, "Hey, try this," and Singapore says, "This is great." But they also built a whole curriculum around it, though, to support whatever his new findings are, which is very interesting, which is very different. I mean, I talk about how in Abacus there is a whole curriculum, and the Asian countries did it only because they didn't go straight to Arabic numbers.
Mm.
I don't know if it, but this is my theory is in about the 12th century when Arabic numbers was introduced, there was a whole split. There was a great divide, is what I call it. It was a great divide where everybody who said that this was the greatest thing next to sliced bread went straight to went to Arabic, and that's Eurocentric math. Whereas those countries that stayed with their own numbering systems, like China, like Japan, like Korea, all the Asian countries stayed with their own numbering system. They kept with the abacus, and now it's ingrained into their culture. And so
Mm.
now, and then in about, I don't know when China decided to go to Arabic numbers, but because they still have abacus as part of their foundation, it's easy to see. There was another thing that I was also discovering was, the advent of the calculators. In the 1970s, everybody was like, I don't know if you've gone through this part, but where they were like, we should not introduce calculators to the children because they're just going to be dumb. I mean, yes and no. But if you marry the two, then it's a very powerful thing. I'm not saying, as an abacus teacher, I'm not saying don't use a calculator. I'm saying use the calculator, but understand the fundamentals. And that's where we're going with the whole AI, right? Like if you don't know your basic structure of English, how are you going to direct AI to do what it needs to do? So that was a
Exactly.
very long thing. That was my train of thought.
No, but that was good.
Thanks.
That was good because I mean, that's what it is. Like everyone's so afraid of AI,
Yeah.
but you have to know what you're going to not only put in, but what you're expecting to get out.
Yeah.
And a lot of our kids are like, great, I
They're
can
not.
just do this.
Yeah.
All right, homework's done. Yay. Let me go back
Yeah.
to video games.
Yeah. Exactly.
And then you'll get some questions, which of course the lovely students don't take away, like the little advertisement at the bottom, and
Oh
it says,
yeah.
click here for more information, or if you want more information, can you do? And I'm like, oh my gosh, you like copied the whole thing.
You know,
Yeah.
and I, if a teacher would want to, what I would totally do is I get the kids to write out their answers.
Mm.
It's not a problem for teachers. It's just a little bit of an extra step. Take a picture of their homework and then have AI correct it. You could do that. So you don't have to go through and correct it, but it gets the kids to do the hard work of writing everything out.
Mm.
Even if they copied AI, let's say, but at least they're doing their something with their hands. That would be an idea.
Well, if you're writing it out, you have a tendency to remember something of what
Exactly.
you're writing.
Exactly. So instead of saying, you know what, turn it in, but take a picture of it, of your handwritten stuff. That's what I would. There's only some teachers that do that, but then one extra step, if they're worried about correcting, that would be the next thing is just take a pic. So have the teachers take a picture of it, fish it into AI, and then AI will be like, yep, this is good. This is good. This is that. You know what I mean? There was another one that was like, there was another philosophy that a teacher did, and she was like, you don't have to correct all of their homework. And I'm like, I don't know about that. I don't know about that philosophy because it's that feedback that you want to give the kids.
Yeah.
But here's that problem. Teachers nowadays,
Yeah.
I love you dearly,
Yeah.
but they don't give the kids the feedback right away.
Yeah.
They can
Yeah.
turn in a homework assignment and then the kids won't get, like, say I have them on Monday and Wednesday. Turn the homework assignment on Monday.
Yeah.
Wednesday,
Yeah.
don't get corrections.
Oh, yeah.
Friday, don't get the corrections. Maybe the
Mm-hmm.
following Monday or following Tuesday when I see them again, oh, I
Yeah.
get the corrections. But you have a test on Thursday.
Mm-hmm.
So they didn't have a chance to get the feedback because we're human beings. If we
Yeah.
did something wrong, I would love to know what I did wrong so I can correct. That's how we learn. That's how we grow. That's how we gain our expertise.
Yeah. Yeah.
So when people don't give feedback, like I was one of those teachers that you took a test on Monday, I see you on Wednesday, boom, let's go over it.
Mm. Yeah.
That's what should be happening. So we can tweak your thinking
Yeah.
and then, you know, just like is it Tammy Lou?
Yeah.
Tammy? Yeah.
You know, very similar, like we giving that feedback so now they can grow.
Yeah. Yeah.
We don't do that too often because we're worried about the kids copying the test.
Yeah.
Oh.
And I'm
I
like,
have a question.
Yeah.
So, okay, there was two things. Let's see, Audrey, right? There was two things
yes.
you mentioned. Okay, so you talked about the feedback and you talked about tweak your thinking. Can you explain to me when a child is doing an assignment, is the feedback a step by step? Because is there a certain like rubric of how you're supposed to do a problem? Because sometimes, for my son, when we're doing math, when you're getting, it's kind of just seeing where his thought process is, and then kind of aligning with that. Then you're helping him to see where he might have gone wrong. There's times that I can see where he's gone wrong on a problem, but then sometimes he's done the problem a totally different way and still have gotten a correct answer. So
Mm-hmm.
when they put that down on paper, are they giving credit for that, or is there a certain step-by-step procedure you have to do on a problem? It's kind of like a broad question, but
No.
as a teacher, I'm just wanting to know how do you answer that question?
So, one, as an educator, as a teacher, you have to be open to there's multiple ways of getting the same answer.
Mm-hmm.
And I think there's a lot of people that are like, I want you to do my way. This is the way, because that's the way that that teacher understands it.
Mm-hmm.
But this is where that professional development is supposed to do. broaden our expectations, because if a child does it and they can explain it and you get the same result, they should still get, unless it specifies on that question, I want you to solve using, I don't know, the square root property. And if they use a different property, you get a percentage off or a point off, but it doesn't deem that the whole thing is wrong because that child still got that answer. But if it's an open question that says factor, you got so many different choices. You can factor by GCF, you can factor by doing the AC method, you can factor by doing the quadratic formula. And I think that's when it gets tough, because you have some people that are like, I want you to do it this way. Whereas for me, when I was in the classroom, I just say, show me which way. Show me what you're doing. Talk me through it, because you're going to get the same answer. And there's usually, most questions have like 2, maybe 3 different ways that you can do the process, because we're all not robots. We're all learning at different paces. We're all seeing this thing called world in different ways.
Yeah, we're
And I
learning
think that's
differently.
why, like, we can't just be like, oh, well, he did it wrong. Did he get the right answer? Yeah, but he did it the wrong way. Pause. Did he get the correct answer? Can my child break it down for you? Hey, here's a whiteboard. Here's a marker. Son, go ahead. Show us what you know. We don't do that too often. Everybody's like, the answer's got to be A, B, C, or D.
Mhm.
And that whole framework sticks with SAT, ACT, where they're getting more money and more money from people. So we're driving our kids into that wheelhouse. So to answer your question, there really isn't a strict format. There is concepts that we teach, but then when it's time for like assessment, unless you're specifying, that child can answer it really any way they want to.
Mhm.
Guidelines. We're here to guide and have guidelines.
Mhm.
This is where I mention marry the process, divorce the result. The result is not it's the process of thinking.
See, my brother drove his teachers absolutely insane because my brother could look at a problem and he could tell you the answer and he would write the answer down. They're like, show your work. He says, but I know what the answer is. They're like, but how did you get to the answer? He goes, because I looked at it and I knew the answer was 5. So that's wonderful. Show your process. And he goes, I don't see why I need to. I know the answer is 5.
The question what I would
So the
be like,
teacher's crazy.
the way then I would counteract that comment to say, teach me how you did it. That would be the, because what I always tell my kids is, you are teaching the teacher. Pretend the teacher doesn't know what they're doing. Teach the teacher.
That might have worked.
Teach the teacher, because a lot of kids wants to teach. Give them the
Mm-hmm.
opportunity to teach.
Mm-hmm. That's why they love.
That's what they did with my son.
Mm-hmm.
Because
Mm-hmm.
because my son was a lot like my brother at that point. So his teacher, first grade teacher, would let him go and work with students that had trouble with the math problems or whatever the problem was, and he'd go work with them.
Yeah.
But then he'd get frustrated because he didn't understand why they didn't know.
Exactly.
But the teacher's like, well, you got to teach them.
Mm-hmm.
Teach them how you know how the problem is like 5,
Mm-hmm.
or it's yellow, or it's green, or whatever. So, my son has some really great teachers all the way through school. I wish my brother would have had some too, would have been a lot better, but he's just like, I know the answer. Why do
Mm-hmm.
you need all
Mm-hmm.
that?
And it's true. Did I answer your question, Elisa?
Yeah, yeah, you did. The tweak your thinking. I wasn't sure if you answered that part, but
Okay. Oh, no, I didn't. Yeah, it's usually like, where, just like you said, if you're looking at your son's work, why, if the answer was supposed to be 4 and he came up with -27, all right, let's go back. what was missing? And it's usually like forgetting that a negative times a negative is a positive.
Mm-hmm.
It's usually like those small rules that will change a whole entire problem from like simple to, oh, good gosh. So, um, so when I say like to tweak their thinking, it's like, oh, I forgot, or, oh, I have to distribute. This is another huge thing that people miss. When they do the distribution, they distribute to the first term, but they forget to distribute to the last term. Even though when they draw those lovely little rainbows to remind them, totally forget. And then sometimes it's like those are the little things that I like to say that I like to tweak their thinking. It's like, do you know why you're drawing the little rainbows? And they're like, not really. I just draw it because everyone else. Then you get to like, let me explain, let me elaborate. Maybe everybody else in the class kind of got it, but maybe you didn't. But I don't read your mind, so I don't know what you're thinking. So because of conversations, and that's what is missing in a lot of classrooms, is conversations, so we can see what is really your thought process. Because like I said earlier, everyone doesn't think the same.
Okay. Okay.
If I could add in a little bit, I would have him complete his thought before you interject.
True.
Yep.
Just
That's a listening skill.
that was just one of those things like it, and it's hard to, as a parent, I know it's hard to be like, you sure about that? But
Right.
you gotta just be quiet and just let them go through it, because it's just like running, it's just like reading, it's just like, just let them fall, let them find where the bottom is. The bottom is, if you keep putting a safety net, they'll never know where the bottom hits.
Agree. Because
Okay.
our kids are like afraid to make mistakes.
Yeah.
All
or
students, they're
or
afraid to
when
make mistakes.
or when they do make a mistake, they get really upset and they just have a whole, they just have a complete tantrum. I can't believe I got it wrong. And I'm like,
I
so
know. Like you didn't come out a genius. That's
yeah,
fine. Neither did
yeah,
I.
yeah, yeah.
I used to.
I
Yeah.
surely did not.
Yeah, my son's doing the okay. You have the outline of the United States. There's different levels, and they show you the shapes of all the states. But we're at the level where you don't have those outlines of the states, and so you have to take the state and you have to put it in its spot. So, and what he doesn't realize is that he's been practicing this for a little while, and he can go pretty fast. So I tell him it's okay to get something wrong. And he's actually doing that. If he gets it wrong, he just goes on through. And I mean, if I go and try to do it, it would take me about 5 minutes. But for him, because he's been practicing, I told him that when you get it wrong, they're going to tell you where to put it right. And just watch. And then each time you get better. I think that applies to anything.
Yes.
So,
Totally agree.
yeah.
But see, you're that great parent that is instilling that.
Mm,
There's not that many parents that are doing that.
mm-hmm,
Oh, okay.
And
mm-hmm,
then, okay, the kids spend more time at school once they're school age. Totally get that. Like spending 8, sometimes 9 to 10 hours, depending if they want to do activities. Um, but then the teacher is the one that's kind of like doing the programming, but it's tough because there's 30, I had 42 kids in the class.
Ooh.
42.
And then, yeah, 42.
Oh my
I had
goodness.
You're the
42
only
kids in the
teacher?
class.
There's no assistant?
Um, the only teacher for, at that time I was teaching algebra 2. I was at a charter school.
Mm-hmm.
And then this one other teacher just wasn't just wasn't. That's the nicest way for me to put it. So the discipline was off the charts. So then kids were like, well, Miss Audrey, you can help this child. You can help. And I'm like literally like, okay. So it's most shoved in there. But it's it needs, like I think Alette said it earlier, we need that at home. Like it's great that people want to homeschool their kids, but the new definition of homeschool, there is a new breed of homeschool parents. It's not the
Oh, yeah.
traditional homeschool parent that, hey, okay, we're in class. This is it. I'm not mom. I'm your teacher. Okay, so let's open our books. This is what we're going to do. This is our structure for today. We're going to do this, 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 this. Homeschool parents now, it's like, okay, I don't want you in school because it's not safe anymore. I don't want you in school because I don't think you're learning anything in that school anyway. So they're pulling the kids out, but they're not teaching.
Mm-hmm.
And then they get upset at the child, rightful age of 12. How come you weren't doing your lessons? When it comes down for them to, put everything together to send off their grades and stuff, they're like, you didn't do anything, but you have to check. So it's, yeah, because
It's a
you're doing
yeah,
and you're helping,
it's a whole
that
debacle.
right.
Yes.
Okay.
The silence of absorbance.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a
All I
lot of
know is my kids would not have been happy with me if I had homeschooled.
mm,
They were
I
very lucky that they had different teachers.
yeah. Even with Abacus, my kids, I got somebody else. So I have a learning center. I've had a learning center for about 21 years now. My brother now has a learning center. So for anybody who is interested in learning Abacus and you're in the San Gabriel Valley, we do have a location out there. And it's been interesting. Like we have teachers and I had my teachers teach my kids because I just couldn't. So
Yeah. I get a lot of that, especially for tutoring. Like, I'm an engineer, but my kid doesn't want me to tutor. Yeah,
mhm,
because the kid's like,
mhm,
dad, yeah, I know. Yeah. So it's
mhm.
nice to have like another
Yes.
human being to say, all right, this is what I'm seeing with your kid. These are
Mhm,
some things. And for teachers to not be afraid to have those parent teacher conferences. It's fine. Parents just want to know, is my kid on track? What do I
yeah.
need to do? I've known teachers break out in hives during parent teacher conferences. I've known teachers that just look like shaking, like, what are you doing? Like you're going to war. No, you're not going to war. Parents
But
just want to know. You spend so much time with my kid. How is he or
some
she doing?
some parents want to know. Some parents are
The ones that come.
very, yeah. No, even the ones that do go to parent conference are really confrontational to the teachers. And I'm like, what are you doing? I mean, so I'm just saying there's a lot to that. Like even in the schools I mean the schools that my kids are going to, they're great, but there's still those parents like my kid can do no wrong. And I'm like, I don't
Mm,
want to I don't want to go there. Think
yeah.
I'm just because everybody, when I do my teaching on live and stuff, everybody's like, "Are you a teacher at a school?" And I'm like, "No, I can't handle the parents because the parents are just so difficult. A lot of the parents are they feel so entitled." And I'm like, oh,
Mm,
what's going on? You're only paying me through taxes. You're not even paying me through like my actual salary. You know what I mean? So,
right.
anyways, that's a little bit
Uh,
of a
That's
rant.
I
interesting.
know as the parent, because I never could have been a teacher,
Mm-hmm.
but as the parents, my husband and I, we would go in and mainly with our son, and we'd go in and go, okay, this is what you need to know about our son,
Mm-hmm.
because he was highly intelligent. They rated his reading on a college level in the third grade. Said if you do not keep him busy, he will deprive another student of their education.
Mhm.
And that was the exact wording from him. And said, whatever you have to do, keep him busy, or somebody else will not learn.
Yeah.
We're telling you right now.
Mm-hmm.
He won't give you trouble. He's just you've got to keep him busy. That's just
Yeah.
all we can tell you.
Yeah.
So
It, but it,
they learn quickly.
but it goes back to, your child, and you don't have that ego that your child can do no wrong. You know what I mean? Like, there is that. I am still grateful for all of the teachers that have taught my kids, even though,
Mhm.
like, my kids are good, but I'm still grateful that they keep them on track, and that, keep them moving forward. And I try my best to get my kids to do what they're supposed to do, but uh, so much so, just turn in your homework and just, I forgot. I'm like, how do you forget? And it's constant yelling. So there's the other
Well,
frustration of being a parent.
yeah, and and I had when Stephanie was in high school or middle school, whatever it was, we still had landlines.
Mm-hmm.
So we would have two or three phones in our house. So she'd have a teacher would call.
Yeah.
It was high school because she was in Latin. Teacher would call and he says, "Okay, she wants to talk to us." I says, "Just a moment," and I'd make that child get on the other line
Nice. Nice.
Mhm.
so she could hear what the teacher is saying, and so that when we all got off the phone, we were all on the same line.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm. And I think that's what's kind of being missed in now. Like, there's a lot of people. I mean, it could also be that, parents as a whole, we have to have different jobs, a job to, like, two parent household, and it's hard to keep up. And it's just one of those things that just amazes me, like, where we're going and how we're doing. And here's another thing. It was interesting that I found was, anybody know who Trevor Noah is? He's a comedian.
Yes,
Mhm.
He's a South African comedian.
South
And
African.
what was very interesting is he says that the difference between South Africa and in America is that everybody in America is a silo, whereas in South Africa, everybody is together. So, we have, like, generations live within generations. So you have that family support. And it's very interesting in how in America, in the United States, we don't have that support, because we're always told, in the movies and the TV shows, like, when I'm 18, I'm moving out. I'm
Yeah.
like, I don't, as a person of the Asian culture, we're not like that. And I remember when I have my friends that were very Americanized, they're Caucasian. They were like, "When are you moving out?" And I'm like, "Why do I need to move out? I don't pay rent. you know, I'm not, my families are okay to get along with, and I have my own room." And it was just, so going back to the whole support, it's just interesting. It could just be that, the parents just don't have that extra time to do that support as well. So it's like just this whole spectrum of, like, it's just a whole spectrum of just everything.
Well, and
So
it pours into the students.
yes, exactly.
The environment that happens at home, it
Mm-hmm.
pours into the classroom.
Exactly.
Even when
Exactly.
you don't think your kids are listening, they're listening. They
Yes,
are quoting you guys in the classroom.
that is
My
so
Oh
class
yes.
true.
said, and you think like, listen to my, no, they're listening.
Yeah.
They're just not
Yeah.
reacting to you at that point in time. They want to seem
Mhm.
like I know everything. But they know they don't
Yep.
know anything.
Yeah.
But that's why,
Very
like
much
when you're
so.
mentioning phone calls, I used to give phone calls, not
Really?
because a kid did something bad. I was one of those crazy teachers that will do it during my planning period and after school will call parents and say, you know what? Your child is a joy to have in my class. And it was true. It wasn't like, doing flagrant lies.
Yeah.
And to have a child that you will say never passed math, all of a sudden getting A's, parents are
Hmm.
like, what are you doing with my child? I'm like, your child has the ability. They
Yeah.
just never had anyone to listen to them or to give them opportunities to display or
Yeah.
give them opportunities to go into groups and to talk. Like everyone's like, I don't want to put kids in groups because all they're going to do is talk. I'm like, that's exactly what you want them to do. Because when they get out of school, what are they going to have to do? They got to learn to advocate for themselves. That's talking. They got to
Mm-hmm.
learn to figure out where they want to live. That's a discussion. If they
Mm-hmm.
want to get an increase in their pay, that's a discussion. So you're going to have to teach people how to talk.
Mhm.
and how to have a discussion. I love when like kids will argue and the principal will come in like, "Oh my God, is there a fight?" And I'm like, and I would just say like, "So Miss Audrey, how did the fight break out in your classroom?" Well, one person said the answer was -5. Another person said it was 1/2. So then all of a sudden, oh, hell broke loose in the classroom. It's just like, I'm going to leave you alone. Thank you. Let me do what I do.
Well,
That's good.
I know one teacher for my daughters, some kind of literature or something, and it was student led because they would have this what they had to read. She put one question out there, and then they had to discuss. And one side had that this was the answer for this question, and the other one had this question, and they had to decide who was right and who was wrong.
Mm-hmm.
I loved it.
Yeah.
You can't just
It
have
got
kids
it got
say,
a room full of 30 students thinking.
Mhm.
that's
And more,
teaching.
Yeah.
and more
That's
times than not,
great.
they would switch sides. And
Mhm.
they were allowed to get up and switch sides when they realized that they didn't think like what the side they were on. So they could get
Mm-hmm.
up and switch sides.
Yeah.
And so it was that kind of teaching was really interesting. She would come home and tell me what was going on in this class. So I waited day to day to see what was going on the next time around. I just loved it.
Right? And
Hmm.
then it brings what's going on in school home.
Mhm.
Yes.
Mhm.
So it was great.
Now you can
It
have
was great.
discussions, especially teenagers. You know, all they say is yes,
Yeah.
no,
Uh-huh.
yeah, uh-huh.
Well, and that was the answers we got if it wasn't about that class. Everything
Mhm.
else was uh-huh.
Mm-hmm.
Or just look at you.
Right.
But that
Telling you.
class, we got words.
Right?
Hmm.
So we're in the last bit of stretch because I do
Okay.
want to make sure that we are that I keep everybody's time, you know. And so was there any last minute questions, last moments or questions or discussions or ideas that we want to talk about? I know Alyssa always
I'm
has
just here
questions.
for support.
Yeah.
I'm the rah-rah.
Alyssa, are you okay? She's thinking. It was a lot of information right there.
Yeah. It
it's
takes her a
it's
minute.
it's just one of those things like we're all bumping through life, just all about guidance and stuff. And so that's okay. Go ahead and unmute. She says that Avram is playing the piano. That's okay.
Mhm.
We enjoy music
Has
too.
that ever changed anything?
Yep. That never
He's
changed
he's
anything.
usually, he's usually part of our video,
Our
our class.
discussions.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's all right. So that was an interesting thing is like, I mean, we're going through and we're just bumping away. We're just, the other thing I was just thinking about is the one thing of like, are they still implementing the no kids left behind? Is that still in effect?
In Florida, it
Really?
is.
Okay.
Yes,
That's such a bad,
Maryland.
it is.
really?
It's a joke. It's a
Oh my
joke.
gosh.
Maryland.
It is.
I mean, the testing, yes, that's still there. We're
Yeah.
testing these kids left and right, even when they're not prepared for it. But,
Yeah.
Well, they teach toward that testing, and it don't mean that they're going to pass this testing,
What
but
I
they
don't
still
understand
pass them
is
on.
where did the testing come from? Like I remember taking tests when I was a kid, but I didn't get any of the results back. I had no clue if I got them right. But I was also in
Well,
Canada at the time.
but but even if you don't pass it, they say, okay, you didn't pass this part, but then they don't tell you anything to help you figure out what you messed up.
Uh-huh.
exactly.
Yeah, okay. Okay, so it was the same. Okay.
So it doesn't
Hmm.
help you. Okay, well,
Any
I
which
didn't
way.
pass the comprehension. I didn't pass the division or whatever it was or part of that thing. And And I questioned as an adult. I said, so as a parent, I said, so how are we supposed to help our children at home so that they're understanding more? Because the teacher
Mhm.
can only
Mhm.
do so much. So how are the parents supposed to help our children? Oh, you don't.
Yeah. Yeah. That's the one
Right.
problem now. Like, yeah, going back to that one parent that I have, and she's like, I don't know what my child is learning because there's no homework. I
Right.
remember going through my kids' homework because I'm like, what homework do you have? And it's so hard to like even keep track. They may or may not be doing anything online. So even doing anything online is just like, it's so hard. Alyssa says, isn't passing the children, even though they are struggling, is the same as not leaving children behind? Yes,
Yeah.
it is the same. That and
Yeah.
that's what we're talking about. That's exactly what
Mhm.
we're talking about. It's like no children left behind is passing them even if they don't know their stuff. And that is the problem. Because ideally 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 that's what they were looking for, but in reality that's not happening.
Mhm.
It
And a
might have
lot of
been.
teachers were like, no.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
it's like anything else. In theory, it's a great idea, but when you put it in practice, it blows.
Yeah.
Right.
Which is so another tangent I was going to go on, which is really interesting about the whole curriculum writers. A lot of the curriculum writers in like the textbooks and stuff, it's all theory, but they've never really tested it. The only reason I bring it up because I just recently saw this one post how this one person was talking about curriculum writing, and then they're like, "Well, yeah, doing curriculum writing, like we have our books, Audrey has books, I have books, and when we actually think about what it would it be like for our students to go through the book to transfer that knowledge. And so what we're
Mhm.
trying to do is we're trying to transfer our knowledge as was it as easy as possible and not get so overwhelmed and not so confusing. That's why our books are so much better because we think of
Students
them,
don't know. We
right,
think
because
of it.
we think of how what would happen when our students go through it, whether they are older, whether they are young. There should still be a logical way, and I think that's what the difference is between the mainstream public school textbooks like that comes from Princeton whatever and
Mhm.
all those other big publishers. Like they're so high up that they don't know what it's like to be at ground level and be like, my kid doesn't know what you mean, but there was this one person that came in like, I don't know what a number line is. And I'm like, that's fine, but the book should have explained it to you what a number line is. And he's like, I don't know why they're teaching this. It's like to show them. And it's like if a parent has these questions, then the textbook is not doing what it's supposed to do. And the teacher was just, and he was like, but the teacher's so adamant about following the textbook. I'm like, that's, that it is what it is. So, and that's it. And she or he is probably doing it that way because they have to show that they only go through the book, and that would be the other problem. So, Audrey,
Oh,
what is your website? I noticed you showed one of your books. There you go,
yes.
Audrey.
Well, it's ACG. I'll type it into the chat. acgmathtutoring.com. So it has everything. It's getting ridiculous. It's expanding.
That's
Like even
cool.
last night, I can't even say last night because I really didn't go to bed yet.
Oh,
Yeah.
Oh my.
Hi, how you doing? Gonna take a nap after this. Um,
Thank you, Audrey, for taking the time. I do appreciate it.
no
Yes.
problem. Please, no
A
problem.
special guest.
So yeah. But
We
if
love it.
anything, you have it in the chat. Also, when it comes to the academics, it's tough because there's so much testing. I feel like kids are really overly tested, especially the iReady. They love to do the iReady. I think in Florida, I think it's the end of the EOCs is what they're trying to pass, and I still have a couple of kids. One that I'm thinking in particular, he's a senior and hasn't passed the algebra EOC, but yet
Ooh.
What does
we're in
EOC mean, please?
algebra end of course. So it's like
Okay,
the
thank
end
you.
of course exam. And I think the one that I've seen, I think in Texas, is called the Stars, with the two R at the end, if I'm not mistaken. But I'm like, how did you progress if you don't show this in Algebra 1?
Mhm.
So it's kind of like what people are doing now. They're looking for tutors. They're like, are you familiar with the EOC? Are you familiar with this exam and that exam? Thank you. If anything, it's always, that's what people are just basically doing. They're looking for tutors. Teachers are overwhelmed. A lot of teachers are leaving. And they're taking, whatever jobs. And it's just like you said, in Maryland, we stole Ingenuity NY, and we just scratched out the NY to put the MD. So, and I'm like, what? And how all these curriculums, people are starting in the middle, and this is a curriculum that's designed from beginning to end. And that's why, like Lynette and our books are very, we think about that process. Like right from the beginning, the different types of numbers. Not too many people are starting there. Most people are starting with, let's solve an equation. I'm like, well, let's talk about the basics first, so we can have
Exactly.
that
Alyssa, I think
progression.
it's her name, her initials.
Yes.
Oh yeah. ACG. Audrey.
Well, I got divorced. So
No,
the
no, no.
G is no longer, that is my dead name. Uh, so I like to say it's for algebra, college algebra, and geometry.
Oh yeah, there it is.
There you
College.
go.
What is it?
There it is.
And what is A? Algebra,
Algebra,
college.
college algebra, and geometry.
Very nice. Very nice.
Yeah, calculus is not my thing. I do pre-calc, but calculus is not my thing. I'll do it, but I will not like you after the session.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah. So it is at that time. If there is anything else, I do appreciate everybody taking their time to join us for All Things
Oh,
Abacus
yeah.
and Math. So thank you
Yes.
again for our special guest. Is there trig as well? Is Alyssa
Yes,
asked.
I do trig.
Okay, Abram is not old enough for that yet.
Yeah. Yes.
Don't push him yet.
Don't push him.
I know. Just not ask. There's the noise of the piano.
Yeah, he's always part of our video, so what can you say?
Yeah. So thank you again, everybody. I do appreciate it. And I hope you guys have a great day. And I'll see you all in my next live.
All
Bye,
right.
everybody.
Thank you, Audrey.